Yeah, we made a nickel discovery about less than a year ago, and we've been steadily drilling on it, and we're just about ready to produce its first resource calculation here in December. Yeah, just getting this thing to flip forward.
Big green button on there.
Yeah.
If it'll press it hard. Oh, there
Oh, you gotta press it hard and hold it. That's too hard. Good enough. That's the key slide. Anyway, so basically, we're located about 60 kilometers south of Timmins, and we began on a gold deposit called Edelston. We had some really good luck in expanding that. We were drilling it out last year. We'll have a resource on that as well in December. But as we were drilling the extensions of the gold deposit, we ran into nickel geology, some nickel mineralization in not quite the right rocks for nickel, but they were bleeding into our gold deposit. And so we spent the last year drilling out basically a new nickel deposit. We'll go to the next one here. It's a lean company. There's the three of us effectively managing it. Two Australians as its ASX list. Got about 8 million cash right now. We're about 80 million market cap. So effectively in the past year, we've had 3 to 4 drill rigs going all year. We raised about 29 million in the spring. We made a nickel discovery, and we continued basically to work on the gold, but that kind of took a back seat to the nickel. So moving on to the actual property. So it's a 300 square kilometer package. It's a large package. We did a lot of option deals and staking, as soon as we secured the initial package. But basically all of those purple ultramafic units they do contain nickel. It's a question of grade really in each of those and recovery, as to whether they're sulfides or still locked up in the silicates. But we're located in that boomerang area, so that's kind of the boomerang shaped brown package. On the south tip is where our new discovery is, called Bardwell. I'll get in a little more detail, but basically it's sulfide. It's a nickel sulfide. We've done some initial metallurgy that's been quite good. It's not tied up in alloys or silicates, so we do have a true brand new nickel sulfide deposit. Yeah, this thing's jumping around like crazy, but there we go. So moving in a little closer to where we're working. So the blue units basically are nickeliferous. So there are ultramafic intrusive units or complexes, and then the red. The initial red at Edelston is where the Edelston gold deposit is. As you can see, so we moved as we moved to the east, to the right. We ran into that sort of cross-cutting nickel unit, and we chased it to the south. So we chased it downwards into the proper ultramafic complex, and we ended up here with this barred well. So currently we've drilled off about 2 kilometers of it to about 100-meter spacing now, down to 450 to 500 meters. It starts at surface. So this thing's quite large. It's averages 150, 200 meters wide, and it looks like it's grading in the kind of 0.4% nickel range. It's got about an 0.15-ish cobalt percentage as well, and these are some of the newer drill results that we got, sort of 150 meters, 0.4-ish, with some high grade inside of that, 18 meters, 0.58. One to watch is probably in the northern tip of this boomerang at B2. Visually, at least, we think we may have kind of another one of these, but we're just awaiting assays on that. A little closer up on the barred well, you can see the drill spacing. So we've drilled it from both sides of the unit, and it looks like we've now got the density that we need as far as drilling goes to get into our first resource calculation. So that's ongoing now, and we do expect that in December. Metallurgically, so that's the big question, with all these lowish grade nickel deposits is, does it recover in a normal sense, or is it locked up in this silicates and alloys? In our case, it's purely sulfide. It's pentlandites, your high tenor millerites, that sort of thing, and we're getting about 60 to 75% overall recoveries as a first pass. So this is with a coarse grind and no, fine tuning. So we're also getting 12 to 20% concentrates. So basically, bottom line is we're able to produce a concentrate that could be shipped pretty much to any smelter, and we're getting reasonable recoveries overall. And the cobalt actually recovers with the nickel, so it's in the pentlandite. So basically, as a nickel equivalent, you can add about a 0.05, 07 sort of thing to the nickel grade. So there's a bit of a 3D view. The kind of gray shaded area of the big boomerang, kind of ultramafic intrusive complex, shows up really well in our geophysical model. The purple is the actual once we've drilled it, so it matches well. But basically down in the bottom part there, you can see where the actual barred well deposit is. So there's, again, just a bit of a 3D view of a 2 kilometer long deposit drilled down to about 500 meters, and a lot of potential yet in the rest of the complex. If you're wondering why we're getting these decent recoveries and why it's really a pure sulfide deposit, a lot of it I think has to do with this major fault that runs through it. Basically, what that's done is it's upgraded the alteration. So you basically pulled your nickel out of your silicates, and then you've upgraded it from the puritites into the pentlandites into the millerites, the higher tenor nickels. So it's undergone basically an upgrading, especially along and in and around the major faults. So we've got some, big aerotem survey, but we've done a downhole EM in the boomerang as well. Done a bunch of that. We're just putting the results of that together now. But basically, every red area that you see is a nickel-bearing ultramafic unit. So there's quite a bit more to look at on this property. The Kirkland Larder Fault is a primarily gold-bearing unit. So obviously that's, as you move eastward, you go to Young-Davidson, you go to Kirkland Lake, Kerr Addison, then you go off into Quebec. So we have about 13 kilometers of the Kirkland Fault, major gold producing fault with a gold deposit called Edelston. And then as you move east, we're into a new kind of parallel gold zones called Sorolla. But as I say, once we hit the nickel, we stopped the gold drilling, focused on the nickel. But there will be again a resource on both gold and nickel in December. Fundamentals. I don't think I need to talk to this crowd about nickel shortages and whatnot. It's pretty obvious. But I think to stress that a new nickel sulfide deposit near Timmins is, especially at surface with decent recoveries, I think that's a pretty special thing to have. So we're definitely on to something here. Coming up, the big thing is going to be the maiden resource on the nickel deposit and the gold deposit. There's a bunch more drilling yet to come, as far as assay results, especially up in that newer area, that B2. So that's about 5 kilometers away from the original nickel deposit. More metallurgical testing and the results of the downhole EM. So it's still going to be a busy November, December for us. And as we go into the new year with resource calculations on both nickel and gold, and possibly a better market, we anticipate a bit of a better valuation.